us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this beautiful day and for allowing all of us to gather here together this evening. Father, we pray for our country as political and racial tensions are high. We pray in the coming weeks and months ahead that we may be able to come together as a country and we can work together and be able to find solutions. And Father, I just pray for a wonderful meeting this evening. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Terry, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We do have one additional item for the agenda, and that's the discussion of a paddle bill. Bringing that up. Okay, everyone should have received a copy of last month's minutes. Copies, questions, concerns, corrections?
I move to approve the June 8, 2020 minutes as presented.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. Rebecca, treasurer's report.
Okay, briefly, we can go over the financial information for June. There were no transfers to or from the local government investment pool during the month. You do have what's labeled as an unaudited 630 income statement. And through the course of the audit, as work progresses and adjustments are made, I will continue to issue those until everything is final. So you'll get future FY21 reports, and then you'll continue to receive this June report. Like normal, at the end of the year, there will be revenue accruals that have to be booked. We receive payments normally from state agencies through the months of July and August. We will also have accounts payable that will continue to come in that relate to FY20. The only item that I'll just provide additional information is regarding income tax, and you can see we've met the budget. I do expect 2 more receipts to happen before the FY20 amount is finalized.
Any idea what that?
None. Property tax billing is going to be happening between now and the next council meeting, and I'm just waiting for the final database file to be released. So then I'll start processing those property taxes. And again, just to say, audit work will continue through the end of October. That's it.
Questions for Rebecca? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, planning department, Jada.
Yes, planning and zoning met on May 18th. They had one item on their agenda. It was Meadows at Town Run. The request for phase 2 final site plan approval or recommendation. And they did in fact recommend approval to town council. You'll be doing that today. We meet again on July 20th. We actually have a hefty agenda this time. There's 8 items on the agenda. We have one for MedStar St. Mary's. They wish to build a approximately 1,050 square foot generator building just to upgrade their generators in case of, storms, loss of power, stuff like that. And then we also have the Community Corrections Center. That's going to be a fast track request for a 4,800 square foot building. They're trying to use the CARES Act to get this built and put in place. So we're trying to move along pretty quickly. The rest of them are the public hearings for the text amendments that you will be hearing today.
Any questions for Jada? Thank you very much. And police report. Hope one else is not with us today. Okay, everybody's got a copy of the police report. Any questions on that? Thank you. All right, let's get to Michelle's few reports.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is Meadows at Town Run, final site plan approval for Phase 2. As Jada mentioned, the Planning and Zoning Commission gave a favorable recommendation to Town Council at their last meeting. Phase 2 contains 47 single-family home lots, a pavilion, playfield, and playground area for outdoor activities. Phase 2 only includes 2 additional roads, and the Meadows Street will be stubbed for the future connection to Wilkinson Farm. At Phase 1, the same architecture as Phase 1. And with us today, we have John Edwards and Brian Brookhart. You want to say anything?
Start with you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Brian Brookhart. I'm from Soltez, the civil engineer for Quality Built Homes and for Meadows at Town Run. I'm sure you've all seen the plans before for Phase 1 section. This is just an extension of Phase 1 in which the main road is extended Town Run Drive back to the back cul-de-sac of the old original farmhouse lot that was there. There is 2 streets, just like Jada said, or I'm sorry, that Laschelle said, that stub off of the main road coming in. Water and sewer was extended from the main road at 245 across the frontage as part of Phase 1 and into Phase 1. Those same extensions will serve the Phase 2 lots. Just basic water and sewer extensions out. The sewer will drain to the pump station that was approved and built as part of Phase 1. The water service connections are from the upgraded lines out on 245 to the 8-inch lines to better serve all of those existing lots along 245 and for the Phase 2 and Phase 1 lots of Meadows and for the later connection to the Wilkinson subdivision to the north. The stormwater management, if you look on this plan that I believe you all have the color pictures of, the stormwater management is located in the brighter green areas scattered throughout the subdivision amongst the lots. Those were designed as part of the newest stormwater regulations for the environmental site design criteria. All of those manage all of the stormwater runoff for the site down to what is called in woods in good condition, basically as if the whole site was wooded, and basically the runoff from the site would mimic woods in good condition. So the runoff essentially is reduced even from what it was before, the open farm fields. The green areas around the perimeter are existing forests that have been saved and are part of the forest conservation for that site. And you can see the basic road and lot layout. All the houses and driveways are pretty much similar to what was in Phase 1. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. I think John may want to add a few pointers in.
And Brian, my name's John Edwards, and I'm with Quality Bill. Brian gets all the heavy lifting, and I get to come in and put the ice cream cake on it. So the pond is there existing in the middle of our site. We're now in Phase 2. We're going to go ahead and finish the walkway path. So there's a lot of people out there pushing the carriages, et cetera, and walking their dogs and stuff. We're excited about that. The playground, the gazebo is all part of that. These are a couple of the existing or current homeowners that just moved in, and they're taking advantage of the pond already. So thought we'd throw that in. But we're really excited about going ahead and finishing off. The hard work was done in Phase 1 with all the water connections and the pump station and the state highway entrance and all of that. For me as the project manager, it'll be it's the extension, as Brian said, this road back, over and down, and just all the water and sewer, everything will be connected right here. So have that to go. So again, also, if there's any questions.
I'm just driving through there. It looked like you got like 21, 22 homes actually sold or under construction.
Yes, and like another 6 or 8. We just broke ground on 6 spec houses. The market right now, there's houses aren't out there, you know, we can't, and interest rates at 3%, so Rod and Dale are anxious to keep this moving and take advantage of the current conditions, so we're putting specs up as well as as all of those. And they have a green light. We were gonna be holding off a little bit longer before, you know, starting section 2, but it is going so well, and we said we're ready. As soon as we have the approvals, we'll be going in there and finishing up our bids and breaking ground as soon as possible.
Okay. And there's really no change here to what was originally outlined.
No, we're just moving right forward with everything that was originally picked.
Good. Any questions?
My only question, and I know this has been here, but like, I think it's lot 107. Is that where the original home place was?
Yeah,
So is that,
that's this whole section back here,
okay.
and it's currently occupied. We've already sold that, and
So are there, like, I guess I'm asking, what's above that? Is that 2 driveways, entrances to get in there, like to the left and the right?
yeah, this section here, so the original driveway, if you were familiar with it, as it existed, came down through here, went around the barns that were here,
Okay.
crossed down through here, and accessed, and that's what's there right now.
Oh, okay.
This is John's old trophy, the 4-car garage, and it goes back here, so that's existing. We're gonna use this part, resurface it as we finish the pond path around, as we build section 2, put our bioswales and all in, and we will need the cul-de-sac complete in order to remove this. When we tie the road in to the parking lot that exists at their place, we're gonna add electric service here. All of this is under an easement right now.
Okay.
So we'll put the electric service in, run a new service, run a new driveway, and then abandon.
That'll
that
go away.
section.
Okay. And I think overall it's a very nice community. So I know what y'all did with Leonard's Grant, so it looks very nice. So I'm anxious to see this done as well.
Thank you.
Is there any reason why there's no sidewalk along Daffodil Court? It looks like,
Yeah. It goes back to the stormwater management.
Bioswales. So the main road down,
oh, I see, there's stormwater, I gotcha.
Yes,
I gotcha.
yes.
I didn't realize it was a different color green, yep.
correct. So right here, if you wanna see how this looks, you drive in and see Cottontail, it's already finished. And we can't get a normal 1-inch storm anymore, they come in 3s or 4s or whatever.
Right.
And these literally, I was pleasantly surprised. I tell Brian all the time. You know, you're wondering, it's a new concept. A lot of these bioswales, but you know, they're 4 feet deep of material from the surface that you see. But there'll be a foot of water after that 3 or 4-inch storm, and you come back 6 hours later, it's gone. And then I go check the pond, and it's looking good too. So, and I've walked. I'm buddies with Mr. Russell down here now, and we've. Our pond is here, his pond is here, and I probably went a quarter to a half mile a while back, took photos, sent them to him, and I said, there's your before and afters, and I both showed that to Dale and Ron at QBH, and I showed it to Mr. Russell. He said, yeah, well, which is which? And I'm like, right. You know, there was no change through all of that, so.
Gotcha, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. Anyone care to make a motion?
I move to approve Phase 2 final site plan for Meadows at Town Run, which includes 47 single-family lots for a total project of 107 lots.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd just like to say before John leaves, so he can carry it back, I know I sent to you all what Quality Built did to help out the businesses, the local businesses. They went and purchased $9,000 in gift cards from a number of different businesses, and that was so much appreciated. I have letters that I'll be sending to Rodney from the businesses, and then they also gave $2,000 to continue our virtual programming. Rodney came to me, he really wanted to do something and help Leonardtown businesses. He's done it in Calvert and Charles, so it just is, that means a lot, and it meant a lot to the businesses as well. So we
Thank
just
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll certainly share that. He's in one of his favorite spots. He's with both
Yeah,
daughters
Florida.
this week out in California. So he always talks about how when you can't, and Laschelle will attest, you can't say it without I will too. tearing up.
Tearing up, yeah.
Is coming through Leonard's Grant, and he brings them in at Christmas time or something like that, and to be a part of the community. So it really means a lot to us.
We appreciate the partnership. Thank you.
Okay. While we're finished. Head out.
You can stick around for the long agenda if you want. All right, the next item is a liquor license letter of support for Buda Garden extension of premise. This is in the back area behind the Buda Garden. There's a where they had their outdoor existing area. They are removing have removed the children's play area and are making that all one. And they've added ADA accessibility and really fixed up the area and just opened it up. So they just need a letter of support for expanding that to include the area that is hashed on your drawing.
So you're saying that fence that's there, that's coming down, or it'll just be partially open to expand the whole area?
Yeah, it's gonna be open to that area. And she had to make a taller fence along the backside per the liquor board requirements.
Any other comments, questions?
So I move to approve a letter of support for Buda Garden to expand their liquor license to include outdoor seating to an area adjacent to the existing outdoor seating.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Okay. Next item is an EDU request for the Community Corrections Center. The Sheriff's Department received funding for this facility under the CARES Act. The main mission of the facility is to facilitate COVID-19 compliance for disease control, address the pretrial supervision programs and the incarcerated programs. We do have a number of individuals here today. Who is Gary, or do you want to say anything, or Marion, or any?
Ms. McKay, council members, mayor, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for the cooperation in getting this program up and running. It's a lofty goal to get done by December. As we all know, we have 4 congregate care facilities, meaning 3 nursing homes and a detention center in this county, absent the St. Mary's Hospital we have. Last thing we need is an outbreak of COVID-19. We've been fortunate to dodge that proverbial bullet. Unfortunately, with our pretrial services program, ever since we've been working with the detention center renovations, unfortunately, we didn't get the facility which should have been the state model in the beginning, and we've had to make do with what's going on at the detention center now. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the pretrial services is being done within the confines of the visiting area right within the detention center and the front doors. And over 2,500 people are serviced there a month through the bathrooms there with substance abuse and counseling sessions and things like that. Obviously, Dr. Brewster said that can't continue to go on now without us having an outbreak which could affect both the detention center and our community. So it's very, very important that we get this done. Thankfully, we have a grant so it's affordable. And the most important thing I can say after 36 years of working here in the sheriff's office, the partnerships we've established across this community have been outstanding, and particularly Leonardtown has been a very good partner for us with the detention center and recognizing the rehabilitation components and everything else that we've done. So I appreciate this, and hopefully we can get this thing up and running again. Like I say, for government, 6-month turnaround is rather lofty. So the 2 ladies here in the corner, and Gary, will be working very hard with me because I don't want to have to come back here and without eating a whole slice of humble pie. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is due. Yes, sir.
Could I just amplify his comments a minute or two? So, and just to kind of add on to what the major said, this project is really kind of an extension of what we're trying to do with the expansion project. The expansion project is already providing pretrial services and community supervision office space, but this is a great supplement to that effort to get the actual program space right next to the detention center, where the health department can come over and provide those services. We've got a really efficient floor plan. We've worked to identify how the utilities can be connected, and we have a good site plan that we'd like to show the planning commission next week to kind of start that process. So it really does roll forward from the current project we're working on.
So your action today is, would be, it's to approve the request for at one EDU. There's only bathrooms and like one set of bathrooms, I think it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Very, very low use facility. Under Ordinance 132, Section 2D, projects that are necessary to protect the health, welfare, safety, or future economic viability of the town are an acceptable, approvable use for our EDUs, and also public projects, so it does meet both of those criteria. Any questions?
Major, you said all this now is being done in the waiting room? Like to the detention center?
Right in front lobby of the detention center. Staff have been doing a great job since 2014 with this. I mean, it's the best we can do.
Right.
We always make do over there in the detention center, and I'm very proud of my people, I
Yeah.
really am, and I'm proud of the community. But this is what happens when you get behind the curve so far, that everything compounds as things come. Who would have thought COVID-19 would have came along, but it's here nonetheless, and it's something you have to deal with.
And I know we talked about this during workshop, so just make sure I understand. This building is going, is it to the left of our EOC all the way in the back, or in between that and the
It's
jail?
to the left, and it's right, you know where the doors are to the work release center on the side?
Okay.
It's going right there in that corner.
Okay, it's going there.
grass.
Okay,
And where the fire lane goes in to back to E-wing, it's right beside
right
that.
there, okay.
So it is on the agenda for Monday for a planning commission.
Okay.
For the site plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
So I move to approve one EDU for the Community Correction Center under authority of Ordinance number 132, Section 2D, projects that are necessary to protect the health, welfare, safety, or future economic viability of the town, and 2E, public projects.
And I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next one requires some good, Gary, are you staying for
Gary,
this
you
one?
might want to stay for this one.
I'm staying.
You're not gonna have to,
Yeah.
say much, but, so the town sign ordinance allows for a 32 square foot ground sign, no higher than 8 foot above ground level, and at the library, the new library, unintentionally, a sign was installed without a permit and did not go through the approval process. And unfortunately, it's 155 square feet, so it's well over our ordinance. We've been discussing back and forth all week. I've talked to Dr. Bridget, county administrator, and the county attorney called me on Friday and has been in discussion with our attorney. And the hopes is that that group would be able to work together and try to come up with some type of a resolution. So there's really no action today. Originally, there was a request to go for a variance, but they've pulled that back, and we're gonna try to work through the process a little bit, but just so you're aware.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is Social Coffee House extension of premise request. And in conjunction with the downtown plan alley network, I'm working to connect the Fenwick Street District business area that was also recommended in the downtown plan, and kind of tying that all in with the L-Town alley improvements that we're working on. As you lately, Sean, who's here, if you have any questions, has been utilizing 2 spaces with the barricades, and he has requested to do a permanent structure similar to what Sweet Bay did just in front of his location in 1 space. And working with Mahan Reichel, they did kind of a sketch for you. It is shifted, it needs to shift toward the right of that picture so that it is kind of blends in with the curb coming out of Johnson Lane, and then 1 space in front of his building. Sean, do you want to just tell him why you want to do it, or?
Just to continue with the restructuring plan that Mahan Reichel came forward, and if you ever are on Fenwick Street and happen to see just how, you know, like when you're actually coming up the hill, going into town on Fenwick Street, it just, you really start feeling like you're coming into an actual town, whereas maybe other places might be a little bit more disjointed, and just really trying to tie in with, you know, with the town, feel like having more outdoor seating and just that feel of just a downtown area. And then, of course, in hoping in conjunction with the alleyway that will be opened up, the parking situation is always a little, you know, not so great on Fenwick Street anyway. So losing a parking spot, but I feel is negligible. Gaining the ability to have a permanent outdoor seating area, and just the current situation with the temporary outdoor seat has been an absolute lifesaver for the business. So just trying to make that a little bit, I don't know, less of an eyesore than the orange barriers and just going along with that.
And we would work with Sean and on throughout the whole process of we're getting prices on the alley network, and I mean, it would be something that he would fund, but trying to make sure it all ties together with what we have planned, maybe trying to find a way to narrow that street as you come up a little bit to try to slow people down, doing a crosswalk. So there were a lot of ideas within the plan, downtown plan, that can be incorporated fairly reasonably. So I think this will be a nice tie-in to that.
And if you look at like a bird's eye view down on Fenwick Street, you'll see how, where like where Bank of America, that corner, the curb already gets bumped out up there, and then it comes in. And so it'd almost be kind of just mirroring what the other end of Fenwick too.
No,
Right.
Fits right in with the, you know, downtown plan. And just to let you know, we do have another agenda item about the barricades. So AD&H actually donated for 2 months.
But we hope to continue it for a while longer.
Good. Yeah, I wasn't aware of on the you know, we were
Yeah.
actually some of the other restaurants and stuff, we were asking like, so how long are these going to
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, but yeah, that's.
Well, I think it's premature to get rid of them at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Probably, you know, what we're looking to do for at least 2 months.
And I can say that,
Evaluate them.
I could double your agenda with, if I read off every single comment that I've received from customers of like how great, the town is for almost immediately of the outdoor seating being granted. There's things popping up and allowing us to take advantage of that. Everyone, all the customers think it's great that the town's helped out so much.
Good, good.
Thank you.
And as we did with Sweet Bay, we would have an official easement and how, you know, the maintenance and all of that would be addressed like we did with Sweet Bay.
So this is just approving him to do this at his expense, and then we would prepare the easement and the
Correct.
maintenance
And then
agreement.
we're going to work together as far as, you know, as we move forward with the planning for the alleyway and the work, and, you know, coordinate together.
Right.
But he would fund this particular portion.
And I agree, Sean, the outdoor seating's definitely been a big hit in town. Everyone's utilizing it and compliments it, and so.
And of course, I really like on the plan, just the, oh, I mean, I'm a little biased, I guess, but I really like the Fenwick Street District plan, and really, anything I can do to help out with keep moving that forward, because I really think it's a really great little feel on that part of the street, and we're kind of missing out on the true potential of that area.
I think
That
Sean,
kind of got delayed because of COVID.
yeah, but Sean and I have talked to, having maybe another arch, where, we're already talking about the Wharf District, but the Fenwick District, as you come up that hill, I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, because I don't want to say something positive by saying something negative, but when you come in from other, like on Washington Street, you don't really realize you're in like the small downtown area until you're really at the intersection of Fenwick and Washington anyway. And it's just, I've always felt coming up Fenwick Street, like, yeah, definitely would support like an arch, just kind of.
Okay. Sean, how many tables were you looking at actually being able to get out there once this is built?
2 would be great. Like, I just don't know how long the whole 6 feet deal or worse could be going on for. 2 would fit under the current regulations. Right now, we currently have 2 tables that are part of our extension of premise as of right now. And so, yeah, we'd probably be looking at just adding additional 2 tables or 4. Right now, we have 6 tables that stay up all the time with the ability to carry out a few more tables down the sidewalk later in the evening when the area starts dying down. But yeah, and that's kind of something Laschelle and I talked about with, there is a good upfront cost to doing something like this, and if you couldn't get at least 2 tables out there, like what was, we just make sure that the cost.
And I think without the social distancing, that you may be able to get even more. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we have to look at strategically placing those planters and stuff so that they're not, really have to lay out the whole thing before.
Unfortunately, we do have one issue that Sweet Bay does not have, and that's people love flying up Fenwick Street. And so having someone to sit around, so that's why we definitely need the, probably for common areas. And we could do stuff to blend that in and make it not look so, make it look like work.
Also.
Oh, I feel like I'm getting older, that I'm like, man, I'm the old guy in the neighborhood now, but I'm just
Complaining about it.
But yeah, I would love to find ways to get people to slow down or coming up that hill.
And I think there's other things we can do as well, so I think it'll all work together a lot better.
Year in recourse to the cranky old guy in the corner yelling at people. Wasn't me.
Cranky young guy, maybe.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All right, well, I move to allow Social Coffee House owner Sean Coogan to construct at his expense an elevated outdoor seating area utilizing 1 parking space directly in front of his building. An official easement needs to be prepared to address construction and maintenance.
I'll second.
Motion and second, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You have to keep working with me.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah, I think that'll be nice.
Okay. So next are a number of ordinances that we introduced some of these a couple months ago, but with COVID, a lot of things have come up and it just got delayed. So now I just wanted to reintroduce them to make sure we met the timeline, and we've actually added a couple. So I think for the first set group of them, which is ordinance 195, 196, 197, 202, and 203, Jada's just going to run through them again real quick and add the new ones that we, since the last meeting.
Hello again. Okay, so ordinance number 195 is the property maintenance. We discussed that before. That's simply just to add that existing 12-inch language in pertaining to the grass and the weed height. That's all that is. Ordinance number 196, it's vehicles and removal and storage of vehicles. Again, we're going to utilize the state language of abandoned vehicles. We have run into several issues here in Leonardtown with unregistered and abandoned vehicles, especially on some of the smaller back roads where people think they can get away with it. And those roads are small enough to be able to drive down without having them cluttered with abandoned vehicles. Ordinance 197 is the forest conservation. This was brought about by Bill 234, Senate Bill 234. All it is an amendment to incorporate language for the fees in lieu. We don't actually collect fees in lieu, but we have to have the language in there. If we do ever collect them, they go to county government, and county tracks them for us. If we move down to Ordinance 202, this is for assisted living facilities. The purpose of this is to include assisted living facilities as an actual permitted use in the IO district. That's, I guess you can say that's to help accommodate
The Alzheimer's
the Alzheimer's
care
yeah,
facility.
memory care facility.
And right now, just remind me, it's not in it, it's not a permitted
It's a
use in
special
any.
exception, right?
It's a
Right.
special exceptional.
Gotcha.
So this would just allow it to be permitted, so planning and zoning can make the decision and move forward. And then ordinance number 203 is also new, and this is the open space and multifamily residential units in the PUD districts, PUDM districts. So the purpose of this amendment is to increase the percentage of allowed multifamily units from 20% to 35% of the total number of residential units permitted in the development. So we're just trying to bring that ratio of multifamily a little bit bigger. That way we're not limiting everything to just single-family residential.
But at the same time, we would, if they got that increase, they would increase the amount of open space that they would have available. And as we go through the public hearing process, you'll be able to see how that can impact such a large amount of open space, keeping the trees and really a lot more preserved area. And especially on some of our farms, like the Wilkinson farm, there's a lot of residents that have been there for a long time that have been concerned about, and farmers that have been concerned about the trees coming down. So it'll be pretty dramatic when you see those maps. But these will all be, there's a public hearing at the Planning Commission on Monday, and then you all will have a public hearing at the August meeting to make the final decision on these. Any questions on those? And then the next group is 198, 199, and Resolution 1-20, and they all have to do with small cell facilities. Do you want to just review those?
Yes, so ordinance 198, that's actually in reference to chapter 128 for streets and sidewalks of the Leonardtown Code. The purpose of that amendment is to allow with town council regulation small wireless facilities on or over town streets and sidewalks. We are required to adopt these standards. We cannot say no, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. We can't say no. So this just gives you the ability to be able to regulate it on town streets and sidewalks. And I will reiterate that when we did this, we also came up with the design guidelines.
So the guidelines are the resolutions that you don't actually pass those by ordinance, but we just are lumping all three of them, so you'll take action on all three of them at once.
Exactly.
After public hearings.
And then ordinance 199, that refers to small wireless facilities in the actual zoning chapter of the ordinance, chapter 155. So that, the same thing, the purpose is to allow with town council regulation, the small cell wireless facilities, did we do it as a special exception in all districts? That's how I have it in my notes, but I thought we were gonna go back and change that.
I have to go back and.
We'll look at that. Sorry, I just noticed it in my notes. But again, it's the same thing as going over your streets and sidewalks, but this would allow it in all districts. The only place that we're not allowing it is in the center of town square, where the park is. It's the only place that they really will not be allowed. And again, the same design guidelines will go along with that, the resolution 2-20.
Okay. The next three items are really, all have to do with the annexation of the Bennett parcel, which is what the St. Mary's Nursing Center is proposing for the Alzheimer's care facility that we've talked about. So it's a long process, and the first one is to introduce ordinance number 200 for the comprehensive land use plan update. So there's a section in our comp plan that is required by the state that talks about lands that may be ripe for future annexation into the town. And so when we did the plan in 2010, we mostly focused on like the Hayden Farm and out in that area. And then whenever the Wilkinson Farm and the Wathen Farm were annexed, we had to go through the same process and add that area into our comp plan as future annexation. And so this time we're adding in, prior to that annexation request, the parcels south on Route 5 past the Medical Arts Building. And we're actually including that whole strip that goes down to Route 4. And some of those in the middle have not requested annexation, but once the Bennett parcel is annexed, it could possibly, we could get more requests. So we're just going to go ahead. It doesn't really affect anything other than we won't have to go through this process again if more of those parcels decide they want to come in for a reason. So we'll introduce this ordinance today, amending the comp plan. Exhibit A, I think it's called, Exhibit A is just a draft of the language that we would, it incorporates what was already in our comp plan and adds those parcels as future. So like I said, this is like the third revision that we've done on that. And so that's attached to as an exhibit to this ordinance. The Planning Commission will also hear this on Monday and make a recommendation back to you. So we need to finalize this ordinance, would be the first step in the annexation process. In a minute, we're going to introduce the annexation petition, but we won't actually have the public hearing for that until September because we need this ordinance for the comp plan to be final first. Clear as mud?
Is there a reason why parcel, I think it's 221, it seems like the only one that's kind of bumped out on the
It's
end?
the house for the Bennett property, so the nursing home bought, or nursing center bought both
Gotcha.
pieces.
Okay, that makes sense. Just seemed like it was hanging out
I
there.
know. I mean, it's attached to it. They bought both of those pieces.
So they bought 2 and 2
And
21. Gotcha.
And so the next one is the comprehensive rezoning review. So when we do update the comp plan and add parcels, as far as annexation, we have to assign a new zoning to those parcels. Our zoning does not 100% line up with what the county categories are. So we typically try to choose a category that's close in the density requirements and uses. And when we do that, we have to do a comprehensive look. So it's called a comprehensive rezoning review. So if there's any parcels that since our last zoning update, which was 2017, if there's been any questions and if we found any mistakes or had any requests, we can do it all comprehensively. I'm not aware of any that we've had since the last, other than these. So this will also address what we will bring those parcels in as when they get annexed. And the two for the nursing center would be institutional office, and the other parcel, which is linear surveys, would come in as commercial office. which is the same as we did on 245 when we had some parcels between Wayne Davis's building and Leonard's Grant Parkway. Those all came in as commercial office. And because it's not coming in and it's exactly the same zoning as the county, we will be sending, after today's meeting, we'll send a letter to the county requesting that this is the zoning that we're recommending and they need to agree to it. So that's all part of the process. So this one actually will go along in September as well, because that's when the actual annexation happens and we're assigning zoning to those parcels. But the Planning Commission is going to go ahead and hold their public hearing on all of them on Monday. Any questions on this? So the next is the annexation resolution 2-20 and the annexation plan. And I thought I brought it. Your document is very large, but here it is. So this is the actual annexation resolution and all the exhibits that go with it. So this gets kept with the resolution. I copied everything for you except the environmental review is very large, and mostly you just needed the executive summary in that. So that's why your package is a little bit smaller. But this resolution 2-20 is being introduced today to move forward the process for the annexation request of property owners of 23.1805 acres south on Route 5 at Route 4. The Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on the comp plan amendment and the comprehensive rezoning necessary to address the annexation at their meeting on July 20th. Town Council will hold a public hearing at their September 14th, 2020 meeting for the annexation resolution and the zoning. So this is really just to kick off the process, and there's a lot of notifications. We will be posting the properties. We send certified letters to all the surrounding properties, and we have to notify Department of Planning, we have to notify the county and Tri-County Council, anybody that has any kind of zoning authority. So we have worked out a timeline and are working through this process, and this will come back to you then in September. Questions, concerns? Okay, the next item is the COVID update to, for one, one thing that we have done, as we talked about earlier, was got the barricades for the outdoor seating for the restaurants. The cost of those is $2,100 a month, and AB&H has footed the bill for 2 months now. That would be up the 23rd of this month, and I really hate to see it go away. As Sean said, there's been a lot of use of it, and I think it's been really good for the businesses. So my proposal is to go ahead and extend for 2 additional months. That would take us into September. And we are not having beach party, so I calculated what was left out of beach party funding, because we are using a little bit of that funding for the virtual program, and we had put a deposit down on some of the bounce house, which would just carry over to the next event. But it leaves $4,200 in beach party, so I was wanting to use that. That would pay for 2 months for the outdoor seating. And I would like to really thank AB&H, and I'm going to do a letter from them as well.
Yeah.
And make sure that the restaurants know that as well.
You just need, this is just a consensus.
That should be a motion.
Yeah, you should probably, I guess we didn't put a motion on there, but, so we would just need a motion to approve using the beach party funding, what's left of the beach party funding to fund 2 more months of the barricades at $2,100 a month.
So I move to approve what's left of the beach party funding to extend 2 months of the barricade usage from AB&H.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
So just a few other things on the COVID update. Through the LBA and the town, we ordered 80 cases of masks that contain 500 masks each. We've been giving them free to businesses in Leonardtown. We've delivered some are being picked up. The word is just starting to get out, and they've been very appreciative of that. We are storing them here at this office and so they can pick them up here. Been working with the county for the grant that they had done with the CARES money, and just making sure when we're going out to the businesses that they know about it, and if they need help, that we can work with economic development for that. The virtual series is going very, very well. Brandy's worked really hard on that, and instead of, in the beginning we did artists mostly because it was funding from the Arts Council, but now that we've expanded the funding, we're really bringing in a lot of different businesses, so she's been taping a lot of new shows and really trying to get the word out that we're open again. We've started a new campaign, Welcome Back Leonardtown, and open for business, and we're really going to be ramping that up. Everyone, we did a logo, Terry did a logo actually, for that, and we had a call with the LBA, a virtual call last week to talk about concerns they have for, what kind of issues they're dealing with in opening, and kind of let some of the businesses who have done unique and creative things as they've opened back up, share their stories. We talked about different resources for the businesses. We had at one time there was about 30 people on the call, I think, and just off and on. It went on for over an hour, I think. Yeah, it was a long time. But it was really well received, and we had different speakers there, different people available from economic development, from the health department. Mark Morris was on. Gretchen Hardman was on. So just had people there available as a resource to the businesses to try to support them and help them as they're experiencing opening. We talked about QBH and what they did for the businesses. The Facade Grant, we extended that deadline. It was supposed to be June 30th. We have probably half of the people that we did the grant for are done, and half of them are still wrapping things up. They just with the COVID issue, they couldn't get it all finalized. So we're still fine with our grant requirements. We extended the deadline to September 30th. I've gotten with all the businesses who are still working on it, and hopefully they'll be able to wrap up, and then I want to roll out. We have several businesses waiting on the second round, so I want to get it out soon. So I'm hoping to get it out in August. I just don't want too much overlap. It's just a lot of paperwork. So we will be rolling out the second Facade Grant soon. Any questions on the COVID update? Just be quiet, right?
Maybe it'll go away. It's just really quiet.
Yeah. And last is just a general update. Just so much going on. We did receive our second phase grant from DNR for the flips, another $175,000, so we can finish that project. We had a conference call with State Highway. They're kicking back on the light, the traffic study from the light at Clark's Rest. They're saying that there's not as much traffic now because of people teleworking, and they don't know if it'll ever come back, and so they really don't want to go on estimations. They want to get the connection open from Clark's Rest and Leonard's Grant, and then do another actual count when we see if traffic picks up. I think we're going to do a response back to reiterate, what the conversation was all along, and try to argue it one more time. I'm not sure that will be successful, but hopefully.
I see Merrick has the stop signs on that connection.
I haven't talked to Marvin to see, but I know he had said a couple weeks, so it should be any time. Also had an update from State Highway on the Route 5 widening. They're now saying probably finishing July of next year. So just extending it out a little bit. They've had some issues, lots of different issues, but They're completing the water line installation. The stream work is a very large project, moving that stream, so they're working on that. I think they've had some issues with some of the utility moving, so it's just put them behind a little bit, especially with, once again, COVID. So now the estimate is July of next year. We also talked about the Route 245 sidewalk project, and the county, DPW was on the call as well. We both reiterated how important that pedestrian project is to the town and to the county, and asked them to please move on that. We were able to come up with a solution for the stormwater management that State Highway would be happy with, and possibly the county would be happy with. It was county recommended it in front of the governmental center. So they're redesigning that, and then we're going to have to see what kind of land we need along through there to make it all happen. And then we'll just have to meet with homeowners. But we really tried to reiterate that that was a really important project. I've been working a lot on the L-Town Alley and getting the costs of doing the improvements for that. We have a community legacy application and a community parks and playground application, both due here like the end of August. So Kathy's working on the writing, and I've been getting prices along with Tony and coordinating, trying to see what might fit in which grant. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to try to get at least one of those grants. I just don't know what's going to happen with state funding with redirecting money to COVID. So we'll see. I mean, we've been pretty lucky lately, so hopefully. And then the last was the item that we were adding, which was another grant. We got word this week that we received $100,000 from a Maryland Maryland Heritage Areas Authority for the purchase of the paddle wheel boat that we talked about, the Black Eyed Susan. So basically, the boat is still available. I talked to the captain on Friday. He would like to have something in writing that we have interest in it, that we got the grant in order for us to start working on this. And what our attorney recommended was possibly if you could give authorization to Dan and I to negotiate the terms of the contract of sale, and then the contract comes back to you all as always. So the full asking price was $322,000. That was $190,000 of that is a low interest government loan, and that would leave $132,000 of balance. And we got a grant for $100,000, so we'd be talking about $32,000 that we would. And we also need to find out exactly what we have to do to get it registered, and what that would entail. So I think the captain would be helpful to get all that information together. But we're just asking to have authorization to kind of move forward and negotiate that and bring it back to you.
Do we have this balance budgeted?
We don't have it budgeted. It would need to come out of fund balance, but
Okay.
we have fund balance.
Is there any way for us to go see it?
I went up last year, so I mean, you can certainly go up. It's
Yeah.
a happy race.
Oh, okay.
I
I'd
think
like
it's
to see
docked
it, I
along
think.
there.
Yeah, it's right along there. It's a marina that owns it. It's right there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I wanted to go up this weekend, but we didn't
Yeah, I
get
wanna
to.
go
But
see it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thought is just, we haven't had a lot of time to think about it. But
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, a lot of work to do, and of course, we have a lot of work to do with Rebecca, with maintenance and.
Right. Operating costs.
Yeah.
Right. Have we
So-
had it, has it been like surveyed, or I don't know, what did they do?
Survey is what it's
Is that what
called,
it's called?
yeah.
To check on the motor and all that?
We got the report.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it has been.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had gotten a report. Kathy was going back and forth with him. We actually worked on the grant from home when we were at home in March, and she talked to him, and he sent a letter spelling out the asking price and what it entailed, and he also sent the survey. I think they had done a lot of work to the interior.
Yeah.
There's,
Exterior is gonna need some work.
yeah.
Actually went up with Andrew Ponte, and then he's got a friend. Andrew actually worked in
Pennsylvania.
Harrisonburg, and
Harris.
worked with a nonprofit and actually ran one of these boats. So he's got a friend that was the captain of that one, came down and looked at this one with us too. Captain was, thought it was in very good shape.
They have a couple other people looking at it, but he really would like us to get it, and so he said he would hold it for a couple of days, and we could discuss it tonight, and just, if he gets something in writing saying that we, got the grant, and we are interested in it, and would want to move forward, he would hold it and not sell it. And he said, I'll come down and run it for you. But, I mean, the thinking is, at least get it at the wharf and not necessarily taking it out. I mean, that just is more liability and more issues to get worked out, but to have somebody that could operate events on it and use it for events, so that would kind of be phased.
Where would it go at the wharf? Would it go right?
It's probably going to have to go at the dock.
Probably right at the new T we'll be building.
Oh, all the way at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it would go right next to the concession stand
I'd
out
like to
there.
put it over there, but I don't think the depth is there. I don't
Yeah,
know,
that's
possibly. I mean, that's where I think it would be really nice to have it stay there. I mean, there's about 4.5 feet there, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think that would be enough.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
it's gonna be able to be there. It's probably gonna have to be out in deeper water, but,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would just look stunning
Yeah,
when
I
it come
think they'll
down.
have it here.
No.
You got small weddings and small events.
Yeah.
And our intent's not to run it. It's just to leave it there.
Well, I think someday,
For us to lease it out or something,
I don't think we want we don't wanna run. Do you wanna be boat captain on the
Well,
weekend?
no, that's what I was gonna ask. Just the
Yeah.
sustaining cost of that. That's
Yeah.
what I was like.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out that. But
Yeah,
that's probably not
so,
small.
I mean, at first, I think we'd put out an RFP and see, I mean, I've been approached by a couple different people that would like to run events, and so kind of take it out of our, so we're not doing the day-to-day operation of it. And then someday, I mean, I think there's a demand for it to go out on tours and stuff like that, but at this point, it's not something that we would do right away, for sure.
I struggle to dock a 23-foot boat, so I think that one's
So,
out with the.
yeah, it might not be a good job for you.
So are you guys gonna get us some more information on it, like how old it is?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, we have all that,
That
yeah.
kind of thing.
we have all that already.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there'll be a lot of documents you bring back.
Sweet. Yeah, it's like buying a house. You
It
want
was
to know
like in
what's
the
going on.
80s. It was built in the 80s, I believe it was, like 87, I believe it was. Yeah, I just read it. I think it was, yeah. It's 111 feet long. Here's some recent pictures. I mean, some of the pictures of it, I think you've seen them. I don't know if I put them all in there or not.
Yeah, yeah, I have the
Okay.
pictures.
I put some in this morning, so.
And would this be like a year-round doing events, or more like spring and summertime?
Probably be a little cold in the winter, but, I don't know. I mean, there is indoor space. It's like
Yeah.
140 seats. One of the pictures shows the indoor space and one shows the outdoor space. So, I mean, potentially, the indoor space could be used in the wintertime. So really, just the only action is if you're interested, we need to move forward on starting to negotiate and get a real good feel for what all needs to be done.
Yeah, pull all the information together.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I mean, are there any other boats? I know we looked at this one a while ago. Are there any other boats out there?
No, not many.
No,
Okay.
not a lot, yeah. I mean, if we lost this one, we were gonna start another search and see what we could find. I mean, the nice thing about this is both the indoor and outdoor space, and it is an operational boat already. Like right now, they're still running cruises out of it.
There's no kitchen facilities on there, so everything would have to be catered, but that's fine.
Looks like there's a bar or something.
There's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we should start the process. Am I supposed to make a motion?
yeah, we need a motion.
I move to authorize the mayor and town administrators to negotiate the terms of the contract of sale of the Black Eyed Susan paddle wheel boat. The contract would come back to the council to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Further discussion?
And then before we, and just making sure, before we buy it, we're gonna, see what the operating costs are, what we're gonna use it for, nail all those things down, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, this will just let us go ahead and start talking to the gentleman and
Mhm.
start
Yeah.
getting more information, and let him know that we're serious.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Much.
I think I'm done.
But that was enough. I really don't have a lot. I think we talked about cow and fish, moving a second location in the town. Just saw them putting up a temporary sign. Il Piccolo Morso, Italian family restaurant.
Means small plate.
Where
And
was that?
actually, he called today,
And the Smoky
and
Joe.
Where's Smoky Joe?
Michael called today
Oh,
and
did
wants
he?
to meet with Jada and I.
That'll be
Say
nice.
anything about
Nice addition.
liquor license or?
Yes, they'll be coming to the August meeting for a liquor license letter of support. They're thinking opening September or October, maybe October timeframe.
Timeframe.
Yeah. They're not doing a lot, I mean, redecorating and stuff, not a lot of renovations.
Okay, that's really all I had. Events, Tyler?
All right, thank you. As was mentioned, the beach party was canceled for this year, which is a little upsetting, but the commissioners of Leonardtown would like to thank everyone for all their hard work and sponsoring, volunteering, and donating over the years. And hopefully COVID-19 ends by next year, and we'll start planning efforts for next year's beach party. Additionally, the second episode of Discovering Leonardtown virtual series aired on June 26. There's a second part, or it featured the second part of culinary tours around town and visited the different restaurants. The last scheduled Leonardtown virtual artist showcase took place on Sunday, June 28th, and that featured James Cornett, Janice Nolan, John Blandingham, and Funkzilla. We're excited to announce that the plans are underway for a live finale show, and more details will come in the future. The virtual series of Robbie and Donovan's Friday night party came to a close on Friday, June 26. The town, LBA, and St. Mary's County Arts Council, and our amazing sponsors, including Quality Build Homes, Merrick Homes, and Leonardtown Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, would like to thank Robbie Booth and Donovan Farrell for the amazing job they did hosting the 9-week musical variety show. Leonardtown is launching a live streamed events. Events in development include fashion shows, Leonardtown beauty and apparel businesses, wine tasting, and more details are coming out soon. And then the virtual programming continued to drive the Town of Leonardtown tourism website, social media, and YouTube pages. It was really interesting to see. I know it comes across my Facebook page, but to see the actual numbers, how posts are averaging 1,000, 2,000 Facebook views. Robbie and Donovan's Friday night party had 7,000 views. Leonardtown MD had 2,000 visitors since the creation of the virtual programming, and then the town's YouTube page had 3,000 visitors during June with 17,000 minutes of content watched. So that was pretty interesting to see. But that was all I had.
Okay. Community development and planning. Nick?
All right, thank you, Mayor. So I really don't have a whole lot to report on. We've had a number of UNOs and permits issued over the last month, so people are still getting work done, which is great to see. The Route 5 widening, as Laschelle talked about earlier, still working through. The self-storage building, I was driving down there, and that building has gotten huge, but they're working hard, and they're really getting that done, so that's great to see. They're going to do some road striping down Leonard's Grant, Singletree, hopefully by the end of August, so look forward to having that done. And then on a final note, I wanted to add, I was able to attend my first SMMA meeting and my first MML conference. Thank you to Jay for letting me participate in the SMMA meeting, got to do the talk of the town, so that was great.
That's right, that's right.
And then the conference, really, my hat's off to all the organizers. They did a great job just getting all that set up, even with the COVID virus. I took a number of classes and it was great, so I really enjoyed it. And fingers are crossed, next year we'll be able to have it in person. And look forward to the time. Good, that's everything from me.
Thank you. Utilities, Kristi.
I really don't have a whole lot to add other than they've started, as Nick and both Laschelle have said, the Route 5 water main's going back in, so roads kind of shut down. Although I think traffic's going okay, so knock on wood, so far it's not been too bad.
Traffic was a little crazy when we had that road closure. People were just stopping right out on Route 5.
Yeah, with their blinker on, and I'm like, can't you see the sign that says the road is
So
closed?
people drove through the cones.
Yeah.
Kristi was having a fit.
People are.
Okay, Jada, Sothoron Municipal Association.
Mayor, thank you. So definitely kudos to the Maryland Municipal League staff. You know, I did attend the online conference, so I was truly amazed how they put that together. They didn't have too long a time to put that together, but they came through with it. I'm glad Nick was able to attend, and I think Mayor, you took a few, and I know Laschelle, I think you did a few as well. And also, I have on here, kudos to the staff for I know they worked with AB&H for the quick repair on Moakley Street. So that was like done in what, 2 days? I think that was fixed.
Yeah, and then
It
they
was
paid
fast.
for
Yeah, so thank you to them. And that's, I mean, reference our fall conference, it's up in the air. The executive board of directors, Jim and Mel, is going to meet, I think, sometime this month to make a decision whether it's going to be another virtual or we're going to postpone. So to be determined. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mary, Business Development and Retention.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to say today other than to remind all my small businesses, first of all, file your personal property tax return that's due on Wednesday. Please do not forget that. You will not be in good standing with the state of Maryland if you don't do that. And, you know, businesses are going to survive. Some businesses will do really well in this type of climate. So, you know, we'll see what the outcome is. But some businesses are going to do very, very well with this. So.
And it seems like to me that ones that have closed were suffering before, they were struggling before. So, everything going on in town. And we're lucky because St. Mary's County has the lowest unemployment rate in the state. So. Fortunate there. Okay, the only other thing I did want to mention, Jan Norris passed away this week. She was struggling with cancer, and I went by and saw him, and yeah, he's doing all right. The kids were there too. They were certainly expecting it. So he didn't think she was going to last night through the night because she had him up like 8 different times. There's not going to be a service. She's being cremated, so they'll probably have a little get together sometime, but not anytime soon. Anything else? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
2 minutes, 5:15.
You were right on the dot.
rocking it.